Hello, everybody. Welcome to Captain's Draft 3.0 presented by Dota Cinema and moonducktv. I need to turn my mic back on in game. Apologies for Dota TV. You can hear me now, guys. Welcome, friends. This is the first series of the day. Second day for this group, which is Group Horse. Alliance versus Team Empire best of 3. With Purge, Pitmuckle. How's it going?
Didn't you read that Reddit thread that was complaining about people not turning the mics on in Dota TV?
Yep.
What's wrong with you?
I failed. Sorry, guys.
It's usually what happens when I forget is while I'm loading, and you do your intro, I turn it on really quick, so I haven't messed up yet. Thank God.
Nice. Well, according to that thread, it's only happened one. Well, Slacks has a problem where he doesn't understand. He doesn't follow direction very well. He just does his own thing.
Yeah, he's also not a caster or a stats man, so he doesn't have a whole lot of experience.
That's true. That's a great point, actually.
So what do you think is going to be the hero here in the draft here? I see a Meepo. We could see a Meepo squeeze through maybe.
Who plays Meepo? Is there anybody in particular?
I don't know. Maybe somebody. Surely somebody.
Well, I'm sure somebody plays it, but nobody like stands out as like the Weehaw type, right?
Yeah, I guess. There's a lot of single target magic nukers as well, so it'd actually be kind of a weak Meepo game. There's a lot of AoE as well. Chihiro, Leshrac. Necrolite is dangerous to play against. Tinker is probably scary. Zeus, a lot of heroes that could probably deal with Meepo fairly well.
You know, I feel bad saying this, but I feel like I might be the only one that feels this way. I love watching Lifestealer jungle because it just turns into such a because you get Radiance eventually, or just Aura stack of some kind on those big Ancients, and it's like you're watching a different game. It's freaking hilarious, but pretty sure that's not good for the game long term if it becomes super popular, but I find it very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, that shit needs to get nerfed. I think it's a little too abusive. Zeus is the first pick here from Team Empire. I'm slightly surprised about this because Zeus has been having some trouble the last couple days. He has won a few games, but enemies have just been picking a lot of dive heroes and they've been pressuring the hell out of Zeus and getting kills on him. So I'm a little surprised to see him picked first, but his damage output is very, very high.
Yeah, Alliance is going to take the Dazzle, so some save against that very set Zeus. There's a lot of... I was going to say Beastmaster's available too. We've been seeing that quite a bit. Hasn't been super successful either, but... I mean, in Captain's Draft, I don't know if you can even blame the heroes. It's just all about like how it meshes with the rest of that specific lineup, since every lineup's going to be totally different.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Captain's Draft. Beastmaster is still very good, though. His roar into amplifying your Necro 3 attack speed thing, it kills almost any hero once you get it, so... It basically allows Beastmaster to turn from just a typical offlaner into somebody that scales, that pressures, and gives you really good map vision. So I think he's been a pretty contested pick recently in the pro scene. Maybe not like first round, but obviously in Captain's Draft, that's those heroes that are maybe second round pick, top tier, become first round picks. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Very early Terrorblade. I don't know why so early, but I like it.
It's Terrorblade is an iffy hero. He's kind of potentially bad in a lot of cases. I don't know if he's great against Beastmaster, but on the bright side for them, they're against a Dazzle. Dazzle isn't very offensive, so for now, Terrorblade's going to be safe. But Terrorblade takes towers really rapidly. I don't like them picking that early. It seems so scary to me.
Low HP, high armor, right? That's the name of the game for TB.
So you're very strong against physical damage, but magic burst is bad. So Razor's going to be able to deal with Terrorblade pretty easily because he can AoE them down. He can sap the damage from the main Terrorblade. Unless Terrorblade has a Manta, you're going to know which one is real now. What the illusions are going to be obvious. And Ogre Magi, another burst magic damage hero that can potentially deal with Terrorblade. So I just don't know, man. I feel like picking TB that early was really dangerous. But I think the reason they did it is because there's not that many carries in the pool. They looked at the pool and they're like, well, we don't want to have to play Weavers, so I guess we'll play Terrorblade. And
pretty sure
I'm scared for him.
It's time for Lifestealer. Both teams. You can do it, guys. Lifestealer inside of Beastmaster Hawk. Imagine that thing coming out of a Hawk, man.
It'd be pretty scary. Lots of AoE disables from Empire. Yeah. Tidehunter, Jakiro, and Lion. All three of those together are going to be really good. And just having a little bit of AoE is great if you're against a Beastmaster too, because you can you can stun his Necro 3 units that are running somebody down, or kill the boars, kill the hawks, things like that can be really useful. Alliance's damage is a bit weak at the moment. That's one thing they're really lacking. I guess they do have Bloodlust plus Beastmaster Aura to amplify their damage a bit, but I think them killing some of these heroes like Tidehunter is going to be a little bit tough.
think a bristleback would be pretty. I'm looking at the heroes that would benefit most from attack speed and movement speed.
Slaughter.
Yeah, Slaughter's also. Well, Slaughter just feels underwhelming lately. That's why I didn't mention him. But I mean, I guess with the extra procs of the bash, it could be good.
I don't know, man. This might be an amazing Leshrac game.
Leshrac? Oh, we saw Leshrac yesterday from Alliance that just wrecked DC. Ripped them a new one.
How did that feel?
10 seconds.
It was like I was watching a pub game of high MMR versus like new players. Necrophos is the last pick for Alliance. Interesting. I like it.
I like this. It's very magic damage based. If somebody's low, you can just kill them, so they can guarantee that against Terrorblade just to blow them up. It's good against Tidehunter as well, because Tide is normally kind of hard to kill when he gets low, but using the Necro ulti kind of guarantees that. So I think the Necro pick's pretty solid. He's going to have a little bit of trouble. I'm sorry, it's a carry Necro. It's not going to be mid. So he won't have too much trouble laning against Zeus then. In fact, he'll be laning against a Tidehunter. I think that's a great matchup for Necrophos. I think it's a really good pick. Fits really nicely into their lineup against Empire. He's got to be a bit careful about Magic Burst, so he may have to build something like a Pipe, at the very least a Cloak. But I think the Necro pick will fit in fine here.
Now, I was a little disappointed not to see Lifestealer, but Necrophos, I haven't seen him in so long. You can't really complain with that, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's an okay hero. He's a bit weak in the laning stage. He used to be better in the last patch where Ring of Protections gave you 3 armor instead of 2. So now you can't lane him as reliably, but he's still a pretty good hero. His ultimate gives you massive advantage in the late game as well, because as soon as you get a Necro ulti on somebody with an Ags up, they just don't come back and they can't buy back. So then you ulti a second guy later when it's off cooldown, you've got 2 dead heroes, and that's when the game just ends. So in a lot of cases at 50, 60, 70 minutes, Necro just automatically wins due to his Reaper Scythe. So we'll see if that happens here.
Aki TPs immediately to the mid lane, puts a ward on the cliff so they can see if
Wait, hold up.
anybody's going for these.
I don't know if
yes.
I don't know if you were watching yesterday, but this ward that he just placed is a Gem TD tower. It's called the Uranium. And I just wanted to make sure you knew that, because
Which one
I
is it?
said that
one?
yesterday. And yeah, and you weren't there, and I was really disappointed about that. I don't even think Brock got the joke. So
He did. What do you mean? What's the joke?
that I brought up Gem TD again. Are you
nothing to
just catching on? Is this the first time that do you just not pay attention when I talk about Gem TD?
No, like you make it seem like it's such a difficult joke to understand that he didn't get it. Like, what's the get? Did you literally said it's Gem TD, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand.
When you said what's to get, like that was you made it sound like there wasn't a joke, dude. There's a joke there. It's there.
No. There's a joke. It's just it's super obvious, is all. I mean, I was just surprised that somebody didn't. I find it hard to believe that he didn't get it. I think you're misrepresenting poor Mott in this situation, but we'll have to ask him later, I suppose. As S4 is gonna get the bounty rune top, and they're gonna trade a Phonic. Are you gonna take this?
Oh, Bulldog's looking at the sword too. Oh, Bulldog also has the Uranium.
Oh man. Well, they all are forced to use the Alliance ward, I'm sure.
Oh, it's the
Yeah,
Alliance
why
ward.
not?
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The official Alliance ward. Not one of my favorites, but it doesn't look awful, so they have that going for them. I remember it was in their chest. It was actually weird. They had a really nice chest. This was like a year and a half ago. Like, their items were quite good, and then their rare was a ward. And I'm like, you know? How do you feel about wards being the rares and chests?
Only if they're really cool.
Really? Let's be real here.
All right, look. There's tons of wards. There's so many wards, and almost nobody uses them. So, in a lot of ways, you're right. Like, it's kind of a stupid rare, but some wards are cool, right?
The ones that I like are like the ones that came with TI. Those are the like. I think somebody using one of those now. I think they just deward. I think it's Empire that might be using it, but it's like the hand that comes out of the ground. Yeah, here we go, right here.
The
We're
legendary
gonna do
one,
cosmetics. Yeah, it's
that
pretty
one
legit.
is not in Gem TD.
Yeah, unfortunately, they can't afford the particles. You know,
Yeah, man.
very taxing on the. That's why Reborn is so slow for everybody. It's because of these freaking wards.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Okay. So mid lane, S4 versus FN, which is the stand-in, of course, for Empire. He was previously on Power Rangers, which I don't know if he was on the new roster or not at all. The newer Power Rangers, but oh my god. Khavos, you are in a lot of trouble, buddy. That is the easiest first blood of Alliance's life, and they're gonna steal the camp. Ay, ay, ay.
How did they even get that guy? What the heck?
Well,
Did
they walked
block
right
him
up.
in? I guess they had the ward, so.
They got that Gem TD ward, bro.
You're so right, dude. And Ogre Magi go in a weird build here. Bloodlust with Fire Blast now.
Oh.
A lot of people will max out Ignite just because it scales so much better in damage over Fire Blast, but a reliable stun is oftentimes better for setup at level 1 at least, and Bloodlust increases your damage by a lot, so even though it's pretty mana expensive, just giving it to somebody like a Dazzle who can chase somebody down and right-click them for longer is really beneficial.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, the Bloodlust value level is always good to have, obviously, but
yeah, it is. I mean, but it's so mana expensive. Like at this stage of the game, it's a fourth of your mana pool. You can't just like cast this casually to make somebody run somewhere faster.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to use it when it's time to fight.
You usually go Ignite first, and then you still get Fire Blast second, right? And typically a Bloodlust somewhere in the first 5 levels is just one casual level, right?
It depends. When I play Ogre in pubs, I usually don't get Bloodlust until a little bit later, and sometimes even until 9. But pro players have been severely favoring it a lot lately. Maybe some with success, some with no success. But I've seen a lot of Bloodlusts get maxed over priority of the other 2 spells, and it's an okay choice. And it's kind of reminiscent of how Alliance played a long time ago, back at like TI2 or TI3, I think. They did pick Ogre one game, and they didn't even get Ignite. But Ignite wasn't as good back then. They just went max Fire Blast, max Bloodlust, in the goal of Bloodlust amping up their carries.
Right. Mid lane, FN getting forced out from the Static Link and Plasma Field of S4. Top lane, though, Loda is 100% free from it. This is actually this is kind of an old school feel, where both respective carries are left completely alone to their own devices. And I mean, this was back in the day when this was actually not fun to watch, just because there was nothing for the offlaner to actually do. But now, hey, you can get an Iron Talon and you can go jungle pretty much with anybody. So
hooray!
I think that's really good though. Like back in the day, this was so boring. Like this would literally be the first 30 minutes of the game for the most part.
Oh, this is why he got Bloodlust, because he's just Iron Talon jungling. This makes so much sense. Because it's just going to give him way more DPS in the jungle, and Ogre's got really high armor and really high regen, so he can get away with this entirely. So actually makes Ogre a pretty good jungle hero.
Oh, Bulldog runs right into Funnick, or is it the other way around? Funnick gets an Impale, attempting to walk away, but there are 2 boars on him. Doesn't have any axes to finish him off, but the right clicks might suffice. FN is here. They're going to turn this around into a sheep, into an Ice Path. Jakiro as well, 3v1 against Bulldog. And one more right click will do it. In fact, the Thunderbolt is used.
That was a huge kill. If there wasn't a rune coming up there, then I think he would have been able to potentially kill Funnick or pressure him a bit more. But because there was a rune, Zeus was already coming over in the Jakiro as well. So pretty easy kill there on Bulldog. I liked his pressure there, but at some stage you do have to back off when you see your enemies coming. Okay,
I need a lesson. I play a lot of Zeus, but can you explain why people are going this build more often? They get 2 in Arc Lightning before they max out Lightning Bolt.
I think the main reason is, first of all, if Arc Lightning does 100 damage versus 85, there's no way that your opponent denies you, basically. But number 2 is also the fact that it jumps 7 times instead of 5. If it only jumps 5 times, then there's a big creep wave and might not hit the hero on the other side. So I think that's why people max this out, or get 2 points before they go into their other build.
And it's for the range creep. So you have 3 Arc Lightnings and you kill the range creep undenied.
Oh, if you use 3 Arc Lightnings, then okay.
Yeah, it's very efficient.
Okay, that makes sense, because then it does 100 damage, range creep as 300 in the early game. Makes sense.
Man, they got a... Is that a triples? Yeah, triple stack here in the bottom jungle. Top lane in the meantime, Kavos getting turned on yet again, this time close to his tower, and there is no TP support coming his way. He gets off 1 anchor smash, but little to no avail. Loda dominating this thing. 40 last hits right now compared to the Terrorblade in the bottom with 35. Loda's going for, it looks like a quick Atos.
Atos for sure, yeah. Early Atos is really good on Necrolite because the hero just needs a little bit of survivability and he needs Disable, and that's exactly what Atos gives him. And it gives him a huge mana pool. It basically gives him 30 int, 300 HP or something like that, plus the slows, everything he needs. So he can chase down heroes, he can get in range of Death Pulse. If he's being chased down by a hero that has a lot of damage, he can Atos them. It's just perfect. The only thing it doesn't give him is armor and magic resistance, but he can fill those out with other items.
Kavos not having a great time right now. He's level 3 compared to Admiral Bulldog, almost level 5 at this point. He's going to get some free experience here at the bottom lane pretty shortly as well. Honestly, even though it sounds weird, if this top tower goes down Alliance's way, that'll actually open up a little bit more space for Kavos to actually get some levels in farm. He does have Iron Talon. He was in the jungle. I'm actually not sure why he went out of the jungle.
Well, I mean, if a creep wave is pushing top and you're not fearing the supports ganking you, then it's really good to go back to the lane. Somebody should generally get that experience, so it makes sense why he wanted it, but he wasn't necessarily expecting the wraparound. And he also probably said, well, it's a Necrolite, a Dazzle, and an Ogre Magi. It's not the scariest tri-lane ever, but when Ogre does have Bloodlust, it does actually become kind of scary. The hero hits pretty hard, he's going to run really fast, and you're going to take a lot of damage.
Wild Axes will not find their mark. Wouldn't have been enough for the kill. Only level 1 for Admiral Bulldog, and S4's rotation is essentially wasted. But the top tower, like we were talking about, will be taken up by Alliance, and Loda attempting for the last hit will get it. So I'm interested in see what build he goes. That's pretty standard overall. He didn't max Death Pulse. Instead went 2 into Sadist, but
yeah, it's just because he didn't really need Reaper Scythe at 6. He knew that the Tidehunter wasn't there, and he wanted a bit more regen of the creep wave in the meantime. So it's justifiable. It doubles the mana regen with the second point. So
I'm trying to think of a skill that scales. Maybe scales is not. Scaling is right when you level it up from level 3 to level 4. As
there's actually a lot.
Thunder God's Wrath has popped.
Crystal Maiden's Aura doubles between level 3 and level 4.
That's for self only though, right?
No, I think it's I might be wrong. I feel like it is for everybody though.
Wait, but what's for the
Crystal Maiden Aura level 4? I believe it doubles the advantage that was getting between 3 and 4.
but Crystal Maiden still benefits more overall.
Yeah, because it doubles. She gets twice as much.
Yeah, bottom lane, Roar onto Aloha Dance. He has Sunder. Can he get it off? He will! Onto Ake, attempting to walk away as S4 is caught within an ice path. Funnick with the sheep, attempting to help his team get away. Aloha Dance gets poison touched, though, and will fall one way or another. And Empire forced back with the huge rotation from Alliance. This is literally their entire team, in fact. And they're going to dive. S4 does not care. No fear. TPing out. EGM very close, but the Fire Blast animation is too slow. And this tier 1 tower looks to be taking, at the very least, tons of damage, if not just go down.
Yeah, and they rotate Necro down here as well. This is going to be really strong for Alliance because he's already got his Atos finish. He's got 1100 HP. He's got a Basilius, so he's got 8 armor. He's got everything that he needs for the early game to just hardcore push, and this is what Alliance is going to do. Now, they also have to defend against a split push from Empire. When a team has better ability to push and take a tower, what you do is you go into the other lanes and you push those towers, because then hopefully you can get a tower in advantage by yourself while they are 5 men in one lane. So it's going to limit Alliance's experience gain as well. So if Empire can do a good job pushing, which they can with the heroes they have, Terrorblade and Jakiro, if they can take towers in response, they can try to stay even in terms of gold against Alliance.
Bottom lane, Funnick taking a little bit of damage from Plasma Field, but will walk away. But this is one of the things that Alliance really excels at, is defending their towers. I mean, they got a kill, they got a tower, and they literally just gave up a little bit of damage to the mid tier 1. And they're definitely fine with that, as they're just hanging out in the Radiant jungle. I believe they counterward a bit there. And Admiral Bulldog just farming away, level 7 at this point. And I assume he's just going to go for the standard book build.
Yeah, it's almost every single Night Stalker does that now. There were some times where variation happened with, like, did I say Night Stalker? I meant Beastmaster. Okay. You know, those 2-word names. Very common, or there was a period of time where you'd buy maybe Boots Travel or Blink Dagger first, and some people would get Necro, but almost everybody purchases the Necro now. They're going to try to kill Aloha Dance here.
Well, he's going to get surrounded by EGM and Ake.
He's
at half HP, gets Fire Blasted. Sunder is now up. Ravage is only going to connect to Ake. They'll find the kill one way or another. That's with the Thunder God's Wrath, in fact. FN really needed that, by the way. EGM, in the meantime, picks up the Bounty Rune. Sunder on to... looks like it was Hvost, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, because then Hvost just used Ravage. He can still farm, but it's better if Aloha Dance farms, so he Sunders his aloe. Hvost goes back to heal, and he buys himself a little bit of time. It's maybe a mistake to use Sunder there. He might actually die. No. Loda just pressuring a bit. It might be a mistake because now Sunder's going to be on cooldown for 2 minutes, but it does increase his farm rate by a small amount.
I'd actually forgotten, we don't see Terribly that often, but forgotten how they buffed and nerfed him at the same time. So Sunder, no mini stun anymore, but the range, it's, I think, at least doubled, huge. Right? It's pretty big. Like before it was melee.
Yeah, it used to be close to melee range, you're completely right. It's way better than it used to be. So that's one of the nice advantages that you get out of the heroes, that your opponents do have to play around stunning you. But Alliance has the solutions for that. They've got Necro, they've got Ogre, and they've got Beastmaster. Those 3 heroes are going to be a huge threat.
We have a pause game right now.
And EGM is actually maxing out Fire Blast again. So that means if he gets a little bit lucky and gets some multicasts, he's going to do way more damage. Even though Fire Blast is a bit of a weak skill, it does 220 damage for a nuke. Most nukes are more about 300, so once he gets into like double multicast range, Maximum Fire Blast becomes a lot more useful. But if he had 4 points at Ignite, for example, it does 400 damage with 4 skill points, whereas Fire Blast has to multicast for it to break even with Ignite. But
are you surprised he went a second level of Bloodlust over the level 1 Ignite?
You could definitely say that that's potentially an error, considering 1 point of Ignite does like 125 damage and slows by 20%. But the Bloodlust surely helped in the laning and the jungling stage. Like if you're jungling, having that pointed Ignite doesn't do anything, and having that extra 20% slow, it may or may not help in a team fight or a gank. I would like to see him get at least 1 point. I completely agree with that, because he can delay pushes, he can pull creep waves. The cast range is a lot longer than Fire Blast is, so there is going to be some usage for Ignite. But I could see him justify going like 4-1-4 and maxing out Bloodlust after getting 1 Ignite, yeah.
Once they have this all leveled up, Bloodlust will give 60 attack speed, the Inner Beast will give 45, so their attack speed is actually going to be ridiculously fast. Which means their Roshan will be fast, and right now it's not too shabby, as they're taking it out with no contention from Empire.
It's so early, man. I don't think they can even fight this. And they used Ravage in that last fight, so they can't even go there. They might Zeus ult to see that they're there, but...
No, they scattered with an illusion instead of the Terrorblade, who now counters that Gem TD ward. I'm not even going to call it the Alliance ward anymore, just Gem TD. Okay. Just another shout out to that great mod, you know? As Razor's going to take the Aegis for himself, S4. Never seen him get so many haste runes in my life, by the way. You were casting that game, right?
I was, yeah.
Good God.
That last track game, man.
Yeah, that was pretty insane, not gonna lie. It was a haste into a regen into a haste again. I'm like, okay,
oh, really?
Good game.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's so bad. Well, they're gonna group up now and take out the tier 1 again. They can't really defend without that Ravage, like you said. About another 20 seconds for that. He's getting pretty close to his mech, so he's kind of bounced back. Not too bad.
See this Alliance carrier?
Here we go again.
This is a Gem TD wave.
Oh, yeah.
It's physical immune. Speaking
of that, no fear getting pounded upon. Looks like Plasma Field might be enough. He'll get away. No! The right click somehow is there. S4's range. It's one of those little weird interactions with Dota 2. That was way beyond the range of
Oh, was it? I just assumed he would get the kill for sure. I was like, oh, surely he'll go for the right click and anticipate this.
Yeah, it's that extra like little delay, you know, when the attack animation's going on and everybody gets away, but...
Funnick was hoping to get a kill there. It would have cost him maybe Finger of Death to break the Aegis, but now Alliance is, or S4 is going to heal back to full again. Now it becomes a little scary to hit the tower. That Razor, so much worth.
Razor's just the perfect hero for this team. They love 5-man, they love pushing down towers, and Razor's just that tanky frontliner that can steal damage from your carries. Perfect.
It synergizes so well with Bloodlust as well. Like Razor wants more mobility because he wants to chase you with Static Link, and he's getting a ton of plus damage from Static Link, so increasing his attack speed as well is just so synergistic there. So Razor definitely fits really well with this lineup. And they're all going to early game items too. Drum of Endurance on Razor. EGM probably going to make an Aether Lens, I would predict here. I would love to see an Aether Lens when he maxes up Fire Blast. He's going to finish Bloodlust maxing, which I think is okay.
Well, the Casual Cloak will all likelihood stay as a Casual Cloak, since that doesn't make Aether Lens anymore. But
could be Glimmer. Glimmer
oh, that's true.
With Aether Lens I think would be best.
I actually forgot that item existed. Nobody buys it anymore.
Yeah, they really don't. There's just a lot of Aether Lens in a lot of cases.
Mid lane, Funnick showing off that Blink Dagger, gets the stun off on EGM into an Ice Path, a very early grave from Ake. And EGM's attempting to TP out! He will live! No, the Thunder God's Wrath finishes him off in the fountain. Oh, no, it doesn't. He was still grave that whole time? Good lord. Nice double impair. The Aegis will be used. Loda just sitting in the macro pipe into the Finger of Death, but it's not quite enough to take him out. So in the end, the Thunder God's Wrath was just used for no reason. I mean, he thought he was going to get the kill. I thought he got the kill. Jesus.
Oh, that's why, because he Zeus ultied as he TP'd home. Yeah. So true. Okay. That's incredible, man. Like, that was a bit of luck there for Alliance and a big mistake from Empire. The fact that they used two of their biggest teamfight ultimates and they got no kills out of it. They almost did get Necro, but they didn't quite. He was very close. Stood in the macro pyre for a long time due to being stunned.
Well, this is a pretty open window for Alliance to just push down towers now with those ultimates down. Of course, they did use Aegis, so that is something to keep in mind. What's that, JJ?
He used the Wandin Fountain, which healed him for 150, which meant that the cloak ended up healing him.
Okay, so the grave was over by then, I take it.
Probably, yeah.
Gotcha. Damn, that's That's like split-second decision right there. Pretty sick. That's why you buy wands, guys, and you use them. That's my issue, is not using them. I still buy them, though, because it's the correct thing to do, Purge. I've learned from you.
What I hate is when you are TPing to get away, but you don't wand before you TP, and then you barely die as your TP is about to finish. And I wonder if EGM was thinking about that as well. But usually when you get Grave, that's not something that you can bother for, because you're like, well, if I hit 1 HP anyways, then it doesn't matter if I don't have
Alliance
wanded.
is going to find Chavost here. Roar is available if they want to use it. Offensive weave as well, EGM I should say, just on the other side, and that's an easy kill. Meanwhile, top lane, Loda getting pressure by Aloha Dance. Thunder God's Wrath used again, but to no avail, unfortunately. S4 is going to find no fear. Do they have any stuns inside EGM? Nope, not close enough. And by the way, he maxed out Bloodlust. It's like, fuck Ignite. This skill sucks dick, apparently.
It actually doesn't. It's a really good skill, but against something like a Terrorblade, it's kind of dangerous to use, because you don't want to use damage over time and slows against Terrorblade. You just want stuns and burst damage.
And Bulldog getting Earth spiked, and that'll be an easy kill for Empire, so a nice little trade of sorts, I suppose.
Kind of a weird Jakiro build here, the 3 Iced Path, 3 Liquid Fire, but I guess against a lot of summons it's pretty solid, and more stun duration is definitely important when they're lacking damage, and Alliance has very good run at you heroes. But usually you'll see max Liquid Fire if the game is about equal and Jakiro is able to pressure towers, but because they're not able to do that, it makes sense to skip Liquid Fire and get Ice Path instead. I really like Dual Breath a lot personally, but again, the stuns are going to be very important. And grabbing at least 1 macro power makes up for the fact that you put all these points into skills that actually don't do much damage. So No Fear can still contribute to damage in team fights a little bit and have really good disables. Ice Path is a great ability, man. 2.2 seconds of stun on a 9-second cooldown means that you are stunning in an AoE for very often.
Looking at Aloha Dance on this Terrorblade, because this is kind of their one hope in this game. I mean, their lineup I thought was quite good, and then the question mark, and it's not necessarily a bad question mark, but the question mark regardless was Terrorblade, and if he could do well, then they would probably do well in turn. But
I mean, this is like a typical KDA for Terrorblade, in all honesty. Like, it's not, you just don't get that many kills. You pressure a lot of towers. You kill creeps. You usually will die more than you get kills in a lot of cases, just because it's like you're a hero that doesn't control your opponents. You can't just like show up to a lane and gank unless you like get your HP low first, and that's just dangerous. So most Terrorblades just kind of break even and farm fast and wait until they get like a Manta style. Like, he's gonna be strong in the mid game, but only if he doesn't get chain stun. So it's gonna be kind of a weird game for Terrorblade. I'm just not sold on the hero just yet. I think he is almost good, but he's not good yet.
What's the general? There's different builds, obviously. The old school build is just getting tanky with a Scotty and all that stuff. You could go S and Y right now too, but I don't know how common it is. I've seen it a few times in the pro scene, but the whole Radiance into Manta, I mean, it's kind of like the Alchemist build of old.
You can buy that. The Manta build is really good right now due to the way that Metamorphosis works. You can get 2 Mantas during your Metamorphosis now, so I think the Manta rush is pretty core, but you can buy Radiance later if you want to split push. It's an option. They're going to try to Ice Path from smoke. It's going to be hard, but
they know Funnick is here, and that's actually going to give up everything, unfortunately. Thunder God's Wrath used yet again.
Oh, they might get one.
Although they might find Ake, Funnick, a nice stun. Finger of Death used, and it's a support kill, and it took 5 heroes with smoke.
Yeah, partially not worth it. If they would have grabbed the Ogre as well with Ice Path, it might have been worth it, but they don't get it. And Terrorblade denies the tower mid at least, so Bulldog doesn't get that one for free.
Close about halfway to his Blink Dagger, and that's something they will desperately need. I mean, the thing about Tidehunter, though, is you just try to play around his Ravage as much as possible, and when you're up, like Alliance is right now, you can survive through those fights usually, and then once it's down, just push, and you don't care about Tidehunter anymore. But one thing I do love, I think we saw, I can't remember when we saw this, this was a different tournament entirely, it was yesterday, I was watching DC, but Tidehunter getting Aghanim Scepter for counter push, so awesome to watch in fights. Yeah, you run out of mana really so quickly, but I really love watching it.
Yeah, you really do run out of mana. He got Ignite, yeah! He was gonna get this.
I thought he was gonna go stats, bro.
No, there's no way he would get stats over Ignite. Like, I know EGM recognizes this ability and says, okay, this ability is good, but I want to focus on Fire Blast and Bloodlust for our mid game. And he's also buying a Pipe of Insight. He's not going to Glimmer Cape. Makes a lot of sense, honestly. Like, Pipe is very strong right now. It's obviously more expensive than Glimmer, but on a price tag of only 1,600 more, it's just hard not to buy Pipe over Glimmer Cape right now. Gives all of your allies 10% magic resistance in an AoE. If you buy a hood, it gives you alone an extra 325 magic shield.
Was Pipe changed in the last patch at all? The last big patch?
Maybe not the last big one, but Hood of Defiance was buffed, that you can do a spell block
Right.
for 325. That part is really beneficial.
I mean, I'm just trying to see like why, because Glimmer Capes were all the rage, and
Well,
nobody
it
bought
was-
pipes.
Glimmer
right?
got nerfed. That's basically what happened. Glimmer has a much longer fade time right now, so you have less uptime where it gives you magic resistance. It also is only like 45% magic resistance anymore. So Glimmer is just more and more becoming
So
weak.
it was the fade time and I think 10% less magic reduction,
Yes, and I think the base item also gives you less
right?
now.
Okay.
Gives you 15% spell resistance and 20 attack speed. So the components actually don't increase what the item does, with the exception
Right.
of the active.
Well, I mean, I think it makes sense that it's picked up less, but I feel like this is a little dramatic. Like we almost never see this item at all.
I don't know, I'm not complaining right now considering how often it was picked in the last patch.
Oh, that's true.
I think the support items are getting a bit more balanced here. As for spots out Jakiro.
Maybe he's just tailing that twin-headed dragon who places a ward, and they know he placed the ward, so that'll be countered in all likelihood. One more right click should do it. That is 168 extra damage for Razor.
Yeah, that's basically Razor Man against Jakiro. If Jakiro can't land his stun, then Jakiro dies, and it's a little difficult to land a Jakiro stun.
Watching Jakiro try to turn around and stun somebody is so painful. The worst turn rate ever. As Pipe is popped, Necro 3 as well, S4 in the front lines. As Phonic is going to get multicasted. My goodness, just drops to the deck immediately. Tier 3 tower will go. And Terrorblade will finally TP back. Has to get his mana regen, though. Pretty sure Alliance can just take this Rax if they really want to. Khavos, though, does have Ravage. So that's something they need to worry about. Range Rax gets taken out pretty much no problem. No fear with the Ice Path. Has Macropyre available. We'll place it. Loda just going to sit in it, pop the BKB, and take out the Rax, and that's all it took. 1 BKB for Rax. No problem.
That's completely worth it. They're going to be really happy with that. And now they go from having all these teamfight items like BKBs, and now they're going to transition even stronger. I'm sure Loda will pick up something like Aghanim Scepter next, maybe. Just so that their teamfights becomes even stronger. The magic immunity is really all they need to make Empire bad. Like, it'll stop Ravage, it'll stop Zeus damage, it'll stop Disables from Lion. The only way that they're going to get damaged if their BKB is up is right clicks and maybe Anchor Smash. So Empire's got to be in a bad space internally, because it's going to be hard for them to take these fights.
Yeah, well, they might have a surprise factor with Tidehunter Blink eventually, but it's so late in the game that Alliance should be expecting it any moment now. There's this Tier 1 tower taking some right clicks from Terrorblade. Ice Path will connect on S4, and this is what Alliance just defends literally every tower to the death, it seems. And
I mean, it's a good thing to do, because that's gold advantage and map control too. They might catch no fear here.
EGM looking for initiation. Ice Path will block him in his way. Macropyre as well. No Fear is just sacrificing his life, and he'll take a Necro ult, in fact. I think that's the first of the game, surprisingly enough.
He actually multicasts like every time he casts on hero. EGM's been getting pretty lucky here.
Well, I'm pretty sure it has to do with the maxing of Bloodlust. There's some like internal coding that
totally
worked out with Ice Frog for sure.
Well, they'll turn this into a bot push. The Jakiro's dead for another 45 seconds.
This game's not over yet, but so far, 3 games from Alliance have been just dominant. Like, ridiculously dominant.
Maybe we should have made, like, a third group that's in the advance. Maybe we just advance them to playoffs or something like that.
Well, everybody advances. I mean, just rank them #1, you mean? Yeah, that's true.
No, just put them in grand finals without playing any games.
Yeah, well, at this rate,
That's what
my
it seems
goodness.
like.
Yeah, I mean, they're
They
just
deserve
outplaying
it.
everybody right now.
You're just
Pipe
saying that to
again.
make your
I mean,
team
this is
look
just
less
rinse,
bad, right?
repeat. What's that?
You're just saying that to make your team look less bad.
Yep, that's
because
true.
they're so, right?
We're actually just terrible, guys. Just keep that in mind. And again, this is a free rack. They don't even try to defend. I mean, you have to defend at some point.
They
I feel.
can't. Like, that's the problem. Like, they would have had to take a 4v5 against a team that has how much gold advantage? You know, just 12,000 at the 24-minute mark. Oh, they're gonna catch EGM. Maybe they can get a kill here.
I think they canceled the TP, and now Aloha Dance has been sitting top this whole time. Has the Metamorphosis popped? Will all likelihood take out the Tier 3. He might even get Rax himself, as they're going to be a team fight now. EGM. Kavos gets a Ravage onto 2 or 3. Pretty sure he might have canceled the TP there, and this might be a Rax again. This time going the way of Empire, surprisingly enough. As the chase continues, Empire is down in numbers, though. Funnick and Kavos attempting to run away, but they actually trade Rax. That's pretty damn good for Empire. I mean, that's the best you can hope for at this rate.
They actually just couldn't kill Ogre Magi. It wasn't even close. When he had Pipe there, as soon as their physical damage stopped, he just lived. Pipe's pretty amazing on Ogre, man. He's healing 18 HP per second right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's so much.
The one unfortunate thing, and I want to look at silver linings, but I don't know if I can. The lane that Empire push is the lane that Alliance will be pushing anyway, so I don't know how much of a difference it actually makes.
It's going to be really tough, because normally if you go somewhere else and the lane's pushing, eventually you have to back up. But if this is the only lane that's pushing, the other ones are racks in your favor, they don't even have to worry about those lanes. Like, it's going to take an extra 30 seconds at least. Like, Terrorblade can push, but he doesn't have an AoE. He's not like an anti-mage, so his counter push against this kind of an advantage is not what a normal carry would be. It's going to be really hard for Empire here. They're going to take the Rosh right now with a couple of their heroes, and then they're going to go top and they're going to end the game. There's very low chance Empire can
S4
win.
adding insult to injury has an Aghanims on Razor, so I mean we don't even see that as often as we used to. Not even close, in fact. But
yeah,
just wants to get that finishing
build.
push.
It used to be the core build with the Eggs Refresher, but now it's more of a I need slight damage increase and I need moderate HP increase, and Eggs is the right way to do that. So that's why it's often built up in the mid game or something like that.
But like you mentioned, like items like S and Y not really needed. Like the attack speed, you have Bloodlust, you have Inner Beast.
Yeah. S and Y or Mecha are usually the tanky items that you would buy in Razor, but Drum is kind of a simpler version of that. That's stronger in the early game, so not weird to see that item not picked up as much. And like you said, Bloodlust is going to make up for any mobility that is missing.
And Alliance just groups up top and looks for the finishing blow to Empire in this game 1 of a best of 3 for Group Horse. Wonder if they even realized they're in Group Horse. I know that Loda really enjoys the horse emote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was he was the first one to. I don't know if you want to say he popularized it, but from a player's perspective, he was the first to really enjoy it. So he will always have a soft spot in my heart as a result.
Soft spurt in your heart.
Soft spurt, guys. All right, Empire grouping up, smoked up. This is gonna be the last stand, I believe, and they're doing the right thing. They need to initiate before the tier 3 towers are approached by Alliance.
And before the BKBs get used, they're gonna run it Octodale.
Goes with a nice Ravage on 2. Aloha Dance pops the Metamorphosis. Loda pops the BKB in turn though. Taking quite a bit of damage. Looks like Loda will fall in this engagement. S4 is going to attempt to run away. Drums are popped. Still has the Aegis intact. It's a 1 for 3 in favor of Empire, and S4 getting destroyed. That's the Aegis. They're going to surround him, and it should take him out another time.
I think they can. Aloha Dance is doing a ton of physical damage, but they're just getting ripped apart. They've won the fight.
All right, we'll see how much this gold swing is. That's what I'm really interested in.
He's got Scotty now, too.
Oh, 5,000 gold swing.
Yeah, 5.5 basically.
Okay, that's about 25% of the lead, or 30% maybe.
5,200 damage from Terrorblade. Like, it's so high with Metamorphosis and Conjure Image. Even his first ability, Reflection, is really solid, because it's going to slow them down, and they're going to take damage from themselves. Their illusions do 100% of their base damage. So for Razor, for example, an illusional spawn that'll be hitting him for 100. It's really good. And when he uses it against Beastmaster, they get their own Beastmaster aura, so they get to attack for 45 attack speed extra, or 55 or whatever.
I guess that would be another reason for S4 not to go something like AC. I don't know if they actually even consider something like that, but that's a good point. I mean, would that would include Pipe of Insight, the 10% passive, right?
So yeah.
I didn't really think about this. That's pretty interesting. Heartstopper aura.
Does that count?
I don't know.
I don't know if you get that from illusions. I'm not sure if you do. Looks like Loda is going to be building a Octarine core, I think, just to lower the cooldown of his ultimate and give him some extra heals. But what he really needs is a piece of armor. If he had a playmail or something like that, like when you have BKB active and you're dying to physical damage through that BKB, that is an issue. You need to make sure you don't just die to that. So I think he should have gone something like Shiva's over Octarine. That might have been a much better choice. They do smoke though.
Gonna smoke up this time.
This is what they need to get a kill. If they get a kill first and then they go push, then it's easy.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, I don't even know if Empire can save for buybacks on their core. Like, especially Terrorblade, you kind of have to just buy every item you can to try to survive. Right now, he has the casual Talisman of Evasion, no buyback as a result. And Alliance are approaching.
That's worth it. I mean, if you can't buyback, or I'm sorry, if it's a endgame team fight and you die, in a lot of cases, that buyback's not going to save you, because if you're the carry, you're probably going to die last.
Wow, I'm actually surprised that EGM didn't get an... I don't know what canceled his Blink Dagger, but either he didn't attempt to blink or it got canceled by something. His mid lane, BKB popped by S4. Static linking Funnick. Can they find the cancel to TP? No. Wow. Barely gets out with any HP. And that's a BKB expended for S4. I think they might even just hold off on this push until that's back up.
They've actually got to be a little careful here. especially with the 1 racks down. If they lose another team fight, it could lead to a second set of racks. It's kind of early though, so cooldowns are pretty low, but Aloha Dance is in a pretty strong place right now. His damage is really solid. If he gets Butterfly as well, Alliance might actually start having trouble killing him.
Well, like you were just talking about the death timers, and with that basic team wipe a few minutes ago, if that was 60 minutes in, Empire gets a Rax, or another Rax, in fact. But it feels so late in the game. It's 30 minutes. Like Alliance just pushes so hard.
They have been, but it's still pretty early. And as the game goes later and later for Alliance, it gets less scary in my opinion, because more of the heroes are going to have BKBs. They're going to have better vision, most likely, since they've been in the lead. They're going to be able to afford a gem. The Necrophos, if he ultis somebody, they're just going to be dead for forever. There's a lot of ways that it's just okay for Alliance here. Even though they did lose that team fight and things are looking a little bit scarier for them, I think they should be able to push this into a win, but it's definitely not over yet. If Empire gets a couple more fights like that, they can win.
So going back to the Necro talk, so you think it's going to be Octarine, which makes sense. Do you go Refresher after that? Or yeah, I guess Shiva's you brought up as the extra armor is going to be needed.
I would say Ags. If you get Octarine, maybe getting Ags on top of that would be solid, but Refresher's not a bad idea either. The Ags is important because it prevents you from buying back. The ultimate naturally makes you respawn longer or slower if you just have any Reaper Scythe kill. But if you just get the Octarine, sometimes it does lose you games in the super late game. Preventing the buyback is too important in the super late game. He has to get Ags eventually, but he definitely does need an armor item next.
How does Octarine work with Reaper's Scythe as far as spell steal? Like, let's say you have 100 HP left, right, and you ult. Is that just 100 damage?
No. It does damage based on how much HP you're missing. So you can like one-shot yourself.
I mean, that's what. Sorry, that's what I meant. You have 100 HP left. It does the inverse, essentially.
Yes. So if you have 1,000 HP and you have 100 HP left, it does 900 damage.
Right. Okay.
Or it does 900 times whatever the ratio is. Right now it's 0.6, so do 600 damage.
Looks like S4 went the Shiva, so I'm not sure if they're gonna want 2 Shivas or not. If Loda wants extra armor.
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe he can buy something like Lotus Orb.
Yeah,
like he definitely needs some survivability of some kind. I don't know what he's going to get, but he needs to have something at some stage. But the Shivas will do a lot, actually, just to reduce the attack speed of the Illusions. Illusions, they have to get most of their attack speed from agility-based items, and it's easier to get minus attack speed from the Shivas than it is to buy attack speed items on the Terrorblade. So this will actually really reduce Aloha Dance's DPS.
EGM. Going for some more cost-effective items. Has the Vlad's pretty much completed at base?
Yep.
That's maybe an extra 5 armor for the team.
I kind of would like to see him have Aether Lens, but Vlad's first totally makes sense. They need to reduce the damage that Terrorblade does.
He does have Blink, so he could close the gap quite a bit if nothing cancels his actual Blink itself. So perhaps that is something that he's keeping in mind. Vlad's on the other side as well, so Jakiro... He didn't mention the Veil of Discord, but he's had that for a bit now as well. That
really
is
good,
incredibly good.
Yeah, it's gonna really amplify up Zeus, and Zeus can focus on bigger items. Zeus doesn't have that much though. He's 3-1 and 4, so his KDA is really good, but he's only got an Aether Lens, Blink, 4 staff. But I think he's just worried about getting initiated on because he knows that if he does, he's probably just dead. So, and the Force can also help whoever else gets roared or overstunned.
I'm not sure what's a good item for Zeus in this game. Like Yule's is not good because you just get bursted down, and there's no save.
You can get a Refresher. Refresher is oftentimes better for damage than an Aghanim Scepter is because 2 ultis does more than like a 25% extra ulti. But I don't know if he'll be able to afford that.
Could go Octarine as well.
Booster.
I mean, Octarine's pretty damn
Soul booster. I don't know. It could be Bloodstone or Octarine.
Is Bloodstone good? I don't think it's good because of Necro ult. I mean, it counteracts it a bit, but if he gets Aghanim Scepter, then the Bloodstone, a lot of the effects of it with that low cooldown just are mitigated.
It's about the mana regen, really, when you get Bloodstone on Zeus, because it's the way you farm is by casting spells, so you really need a lot of mana regen for you to be able to keep your farm up with conventional carries. So that's the reason it's strong. It's kind of early into the game, but the other benefit is that you respawn a bit faster, and that's actually a pretty nice advantage.
You're going to walk directly into a smoke and into a Shiva's, into the Fire Blast. BKB's popped galore for Alliances. They're going to clean up Jakiro, no problem. Reaper Scythe will finish him off, and that's 2 dead right off the bat for Empire, and that's going to be a free rush, which should be up in 5 seconds. The question is, do they care? I think they should.
It's dangerous to run high ground like that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know if they have buybacks. But they could just try to force them as well.
Oh, they might be able to get more.
S4. He's going to get a courier. Had 0 net worth on it, unfortunately. For Alliance, that is.
There's no
And
TP
Zeus is
for
gonna
on
get
Zeus
out.
for a 5. He's got Force Blink.
Yeah, he should be okay. He's cutting the wave nicely, though, so it's going to... I don't know if it's going to stop the push for Alliance, but... I mean, pretty much they have 1 creep. They just got to keep that creep alive.
Terrorblade's also going to keep pushing. I think they can take the tower, and so they got so much attack speed.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Forgot to mention the extra aura from the Necro units. I mean, they have so many auras to work with, it's insane. On top of all the items. Pipe is popped. Zeus pops his ult into a convulse. Huge ravage on the entirety of Alliance. And they're going to find the Dazzle. And Funnick getting chased down by EGM. Force Staff's the opposite direction. I'm not sure if that was intended. S4. BKB is over. Sunder. Oh my god, it wasn't in range, I guess. As this tower is going to continue to be pushed by Alliance. No buyback on Terrorblade, so it's a 4v4. Kavos with no Ravage, so he's utterly useless. And if they're not careful, Alliance could get mega creeps. Macropire is used to clean out the wave, and backdoor protection has not kicked in yet. There's the BKB. Loda's been saving that BKB the entire fight and uses it there to ensure this Rax is going to be range Rax at the very least. And in all likelihood, the melee as Terrorblade still obviously cannot buy back. That's going to be Mega Creeps going the way of Alliance. In all likelihood, game 1 as a result. S4 pops the Shivas, and they're just going to finish off these heroes. That's the 3rd Necro ult we've seen this game. GG well played is called. Game 1 to Alliance. A little bit of a blip there, but quite dominant.
That fight was so good by Empire. Funnick's initiation was perfect. First of all, he went on the Dazzle, and then he got a double stun. Ulti the Dazzle was low. Then the Ravage hit was, oh man, they started the fight perfectly, but Terrorblade just lost too much HP there. He tried to sunder Loda, but Loda ran away. So then he's like, well, I'm gonna die, I need to sunder somebody. He tries to go on Razor. Oh, I think I know what happened. It was the passive from from Razor hit him for 200 damage because he cast a single target ability.
No,
and it did just enough to kill him and prevent the sunder. So
that's rough.
That's how Aloha Dance died there. He actually could have possibly just ran away, and it would have.
I can't remember the last time I've seen an unstable current kill. But
well, it got him there, and it was just enough. They had great itemization. They had a great last team fight there, but they just got too far behind from those first 2 racks. So Empire ends up going down in game 1.
All right, so this, of course, is a best of 3, and this is the first series of the day. The next series will be VP versus DC, so stay tuned. But game 2 coming up next, guys. We'll be right back.